Are you familiar with FBI Special Agents Kyle Seraphin?
I'm familiar with the name.
Is that yes?
I'm familiar with the name.
Let's bring in Kyle Seraphin. He's the FBI whistleblower who helped expose government censorship of our First Amendment rights.
Now, we only have this memo because a recently suspended FBI agent called Kyle Seraphin brought it to the public, and we're grateful that he did. Kyle, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
He's the host of something that strangely is called the Kyle Seraphin Show.
Kyle Seraphin, I can't thank you enough for speaking out. I knew you guys were out there, and I knew it was just a matter of time, but you got a lot of guts putting your face and your name to this. You're doing a service on behalf of the American people, and from the bottom of my cracked and broken heart sometimes, thank you very much.
Take a look behind the curtain with a real whistleblower and American patriot. Prepare to embrace the uncomfortable truth because this program has no time for comforting lies. Here is civil liberties enthusiast, Second Amendment defender, and recovering FBI agent Kyle Seraphin.
Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to the Kyle Seraphin Show. Today is Friday, and I guess it's an unfriendly Friday because my buddy Steve Friend is airborne and flying back from the swamp, going to the other swamp. He's leaving D.C. or has already left and is inbound to Florida. So we won't have him on today, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't hit the like button. You shouldn't like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And if you are so inclined, you can join us over on Locals now. That's kind of cool. I've been terrified of messing around with more platforms than I can handle. I didn't like biting this kind of stuff off, but I did anyway. So if you are so inclined, you can join us at our Locals channel. You can click right through the Rumble app and you can hit join. That's kind of fun. We're going to have some neat content over there that doesn't really fit Kyle Seraphin show commentary and news and politics and hating on the FBI. We're going to do some more fun stuff. We're going to do emergency medicine. We're going to do preparation. We're going to do some shooting, gear and gun reviews, things that kind of make more sense for a different kind of audience or maybe a smaller subset of our audience. So if you guys want to join us over there, you can do that. And you can also just easily, very easily, run over to KyleSeraphin.com. That will actually redirect you directly into our Locals community, KyleSeraphin.com. There you go. I don't know why the credits are running. That's just what happens. All right, folks, big Friday going on. And while we're talking about preparedness, let's go ahead and thank our sponsors up front here because they're new to this program. They also have their own custom website, and it has our name on it, and we're really appreciative. Folks, if you are not prepared right now, you're getting ready to repair. You probably know this. If you think you're prepared, it's time to take a note from the younger generations, millennials, Gen Z. They're getting it done. The research shows it. They're more prepared, whether it be emergency stockpiles, whether it be putting money away. If you are a Gen Xer or a Boomer, what's your excuse? Come on, jump in line here. You can get started with My Patriot Supply. Since 2008, My Patriot Supply has helped millions, literally millions of Americans gear up for emergencies. And looks like we're getting ready for one of those after what happened this week. Make sure you have some emergency food, and you can get their popular 4-week emergency food kit. You want one for every member of your family. Get yours right now at my website. It's preparelikekyle.com. You see it on the screen, preparelikekyle.com. Each food kit offers over 2,000 calories for every single day, and in a pinch, you can actually stretch those further. Plus, they're ultra durable. They have 4-layer packaging, and they can last up to 25 years in storage. So that's a good thing for you. You can order as many kits as you want. You'll save $50 on each one, and there's free shipping. I hate paying for shipping. I don't know why. I feel like it's like something that comes after the fact. No time to waste, folks. Stock up and go to preparelikekyle.com. Again, preparelikekyle.com. Very easy to remember. Should we get this thing going? I have a kind of a weird start. Sometimes we do this on Fridays. I usually like to shock Steve Friend with this stuff, but I'm going to be doing it solo. So here we go. I got some fan hate mail, whatever you want to call this sort of thing. I'm going to throw it on the screen because it's funny. This is somebody from Twitter that nobody follows, an unloved person, and apparently discovered something about me that I didn't know, but apparently I am part of the gay hate. But I also look gay myself. That's a weird moment when you have that thing where you're trying to insult someone, but also defend somebody. You're trying to defend gay people by calling somebody gay looking. I don't know, man. I got 4 kids and I'm married. I could care less what Twitter people say, but it is funny. So I reached out to some of our gay listeners, which we do have some. And if you are a listener to the show and you are gay, you probably have a excellent sense of humor. There's no other way around it. And so this is our message for you, I guess, today. Just, it was sent to me by George Hill. I'm going to share this with you, and it's going to be in your head. So I'll apologize right now. I guess this is our official take on gay listeners to the Kyle Seraphin Show. Enjoy.
You gotta give your life to Jesus and stop dreaming about peace. You got to pray the gay way, pray the gay way. You gotta give your life to Jesus and stop dreaming about peace. You got to pray the gay way, pray the gay way.
Come on now. What's funnier than that? I don't know what the story is or where that guy decided to film that, but it's a brilliant song. It sounds great. I want to hear the rest of it. I couldn't find the rest of it. Listen, if he wants to record an album, I would be more than happy to join him for that. That's right up my alley. Kind of ridiculous, little country. I'll even wear a vest. Just saying. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Today's show is going to include some really important information that you were hoping that you got. And it's because this week we've been prepped for it. We've been set up for it. You guys are now all trying to pray the gay away. You guys don't remember the moral majority in the 90s? Like, I grew up watching people say that that was what they were going to do. They're going to pray the gay away. And it doesn't work, I don't think. Not for people who are actually gay. Anyway, like I said, sense of humor. Okay, speaking of sense of humor, we have to have one about what's going on in this country. Yesterday was a little bit more riled up, perhaps. You guys gave me some pretty positive feedback. I'm riled up because this is the funniest time to be a commentator in this space. And I guess this must have been like what the CNN anchors felt like every day when Donald Trump couldn't get off the toilet tweets, right? He's just sending out wild stuff and they're like, yeah, look at this. Another piece of gold for us to go and outrage mine or whatever they do. I'm not outrage mining here. I'm just dying laughing because they hyped up this toddler, infantile press conference, and the reviews are in and they're mixed. That's not what Joe Biden was looking for. Mixed reviews is not how it ends up. Also, we're going to cover down some focus groups and some other stuff. So just here's the preparatory hype that the media gave us. Mostly KJP, also known as Sideshow Bob. Here we go.
Big boy press conference. Big boy press conference. A big boy press conference. Hold a press conference. A big boy press conference.
A press conference. I guess a big boy press conference is what we're calling it. The press conference. The big boy press conference. Y'all are planning to have.
Gives his press conference. His big boy press conference.
He's the big boy press conference. The press conference for the big boy. The big boy had a press conference and it went not that great. Angry and stunned, Democrats blame Biden's closest advisors for shielding the public from the full extent of the president's decline. There you go. That's what's happening. That's what it is. CNN is letting us know. CNN is not in for Biden anymore. I don't know who they're in for because it's not real obvious to me, but there is minimal about Donald Trump on their main page. There's just Biden hate. It's so fun to watch. Okay, so at a star-studded fundraiser for President Joe Biden in Los Angeles last month, George Clooney wasn't the only one who came away concerned about the president. Even before Biden made remarks that night, whispers. You know how he always does the whisper thing? Of concern rippled through the audience at the Peacock Theater about the president who just arrived from a long flight from Italy and some of the biggest donors at a $30 million fundraising event had waited in line for a very long time to take pictures with Biden. They now expressed unease at how the president looked and carried himself. He was less cogent than usual, said one person. He barely spoke, another said. There's a marked difference in the president from spring to summer. He's just not the same, said a senior Democrat to CNN without giving a name. This entire display is kind of an act. What? Where have you people been? Hiding it from us. It's amazing to watch people wake up. Look, God bless them. Better now than never, right? Better now than after they go and pull the lever for this guy. I think they're still going to do it because they're dumb. They're captured. But George Clooney wrote this. Now, here's the thing about George Clooney. I don't know George Clooney. I've never met George Clooney. I've met some famous people, but not him. But he looks like what a movie star should look like, doesn't he? And he sounds like what a movie star should sound like. And he doesn't seem dumb. There are some of them out there when they speak, you're like, oh, dear God. Like, people have been fluffing you for a long time. They've been telling you what a great big boy you are and how smart you are, but you barely can think on your own. Now, George Clooney is able to come off the cuff. He believes in the things he believes in. He seems straightforward and passionate about the things in there. And I think when he's a lifelong Democrat, it comes from an honest place of being a person that is living in Hollywood and thinks that's a good thing. All right? So be it. So I'll take him at his word. Here's what he wrote. This is a New York Times piece. It says, George Clooney says, I love Joe Biden, but we need a new nominee. I don't think these people understand the mechanics of what they're up against as well. This is the reason why I talked to Mike Howell from Oversight Project, from Heritage Foundation the other day. It's absolutely hilarious that they're just like, they think they can just change horses midstream. This isn't like a WWF match where you run to the corner and tag somebody in, they come rolling in and you're good to go. There's hundreds of millions of dollars tied up in Joe's name specifically. They would have to start from baseline zero or baseline much lower. There's at least $200 million in that war chest that has to be spent on Biden for president. And he's got the delegates. So if Joe Biden doesn't walk away, what are they going to do? They'd have to kill him. He's not doing it voluntarily. His family won't let him. We sort of see this. So here's George Clooney's words. And I think they're kind of funny in so much as I think when you pretend things for a living, maybe you think people will believe you're pretending. Like you can change costumes and now you're a new person. That doesn't work in your real life. So George Clooney, for all of his great movies, which there are plenty of them, and his amusing characters, he's just missed the boat here. He says, I'm a lifelong Democrat. I make no apologies about that. I'm proud of what my party represents. He goes on to say that I've led some of the biggest fundraisers in the party's history. Barack Obama in 2012, Hillary Clinton in 2016, Joe Biden in 2020. And last month, I co-hosted the single largest fundraiser supporting any Democratic candidate ever for Joe Biden's reelection. And all I can say is I want to say that I believe in the process and how profound I think this moment is. And I love Joe Biden and blah, blah, blah. He was a great senator. He's a great vice president. He's a great president. No. None of those things are true. He's not. He's not great at anything. The amazing thing is nothing has changed dramatically in the last couple weeks. He's an actor who has raised a ton of money. There is zero chance that George Clooney doesn't have real access to this man in an unfiltered way. And if he's unable to pick up on, which I don't believe, if he's unable to pick up on how much this man has declined, there's no hope for him as a human being. I don't think he's dumb. So I'm going to have to say that he's being disingenuous. And he thinks that changing costume and putting it on and saying, look, here I am right now, and I am now coming out against Joe Biden. It's irrelevant, dude. You raised all the money for him. It went to his reelection campaign. There's no fixing it. So let's do the press conference, shall we? Because the analysis of it is quite funny, and we're going to have to get to that as well. People are piling on. They can't help it. They just want to smash down on Joe right now. But like, Joe did a good job of doing what he needed to do. He limped across the finish line. The results are mixed. ABC called it purgatorial, which is to say he didn't end himself where they were like, that's it, the hook, he's gone. He just did kind of like a mediocre job like he's been doing for a while. And then they're able to say, well, that's a stutter, or that's the Joe Biden slur, or he's old and he's kind of tired. So they can excuse it. You tell me if this is excusable. Look, he did a full big boy press conference. I've just got some highlights or lowlights, if you will, and I'm having fun with them. So here we go. Here's him explaining that he's done the cognitive test, people. Just don't worry about it.
Two things. One, I've taken 3 significant and intense neurological exams by a neurologist. In each case, as recently as February. And they say I'm in good shape, okay? Although I do have a little problem with my left foot because it's not as sensitive because I broke my foot and didn't wear the boot.
That's it. That's the only problem he's got, is that he just can't walk as well because one of his feet doesn't work as well as the other foot because he didn't wear the boot. But he also can't pronounce the word neurologist. Isn't that a fun look when you're out there to reassure people about how with it you are and you can't find the word for the thing in the one sentence where you're with it? Oops. Pretty fun, right? It got more fun than that because he led off with a really, really strong start. He finished with a classic Joe Biden weird start or end, I guess, in the same way that he ended the debate talking about lead pipes. He sort of told people to listen to Donald Trump. I don't know what that means, but we're going to go ahead and play it as well. Let's start with the concerns about Kamala Harris, which are significant. And so somebody posed the question, listen, man, you kind of suck. Everyone sort of thinks Kamala would be the next shoo-in for this job. Got any concerns about that? And then he talked about his vice president.
What concerns do you have about Vice President Harris's ability to beat Donald Trump if she were at the top of the ticket?
Look, I wouldn't have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, but I think she was not qualified to be president. So let's start there. Number one.
That's the number one? The number one is that you don't know the name of your vice president? Donald Trump obviously jumped on that. I got a little picture for you. Somebody on the social medias has come up with, there you have Vice President Trump / Kamala. That's Mamala Trump. That is something I had to see it, so now you have to see it. And if you have not seen this picture, you can join us on Rumble and check it out, or you can see it on Locals here. You can see it on YouTube. You can see it on Twitter, etc. And that wasn't the end of the missteps, because before that, he threw out another one of those like amazing moments where you're just like, only a man who doesn't know what's going on could make this mistake. You're seeing down in the bottom right, that looks a lot like Vladimir Zelensky Putin. Vladimir Putin, Zelensky Putin. They're so hard to remember. One guy you've given tens of hundreds of billions of dollars to, and his wife is buying $5 million Bugattis in Paris. The other guy is apparently the world's worst dictator who controls your political opponent and needs to be eliminated, and you'd missile strike him. Oh my, dear Joe.
And now I want to hand it over to the president of Ukraine, who has as much courage as he has determination. Ladies and gentlemen, President Putin. President Putin. He's going to beat President Putin. President Zelensky. I'm so focused on beating Putin, we got to worry about it. Anyway, Mr. President.
I'm better.
You are a hell of a lot better.
Okay, so that's the extended clip. Most of you probably just saw it cut off it there, and you're like, that has to be fake. No, that's real. And then he recovered from it, not well. He's like, President Putin, did I just say that? I don't even know what goes on in his head. There's like 13 cats, and the one that's not supposed to speak just got up and said it. What a weird, sad moment. That's where he was trying to curry favor with our NATO allies and let them know that the state of our alliance is strong after 75. Like, unbelievable, huh? This guy. But we have the same sort of reaction, I'm sure. This is how he thinks he did, because he's been infantilized. So his wife, Dr. Jill, this is the way that she treats him when he gets home. Does he go back and watch this performance? No. Do they go back and play him the highlight or the low light clips the way we're doing? No. They just do this sort of thing.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the
Joe, you did such a good job. It's so great. Man, doesn't she have like a voice for the prime time? Can't you just wait for Jill Biden to step into the ring and just do something public? This is why I hate first ladies, because she thought she was part of this. She's Joe Biden's hype man, and she would be nauseating to toddlers who are actually being called big boys. It's so strange to watch. Anyway, so be it. And predictably, people are going to pile on. This is Stephen Collinson, again, CNN's piece. Two little pieces here. People are piling on this guy. Is that what we call it? I think people are just starting to realize that it's so ugly, there is zero chance that they can cover it up anymore. And some of the normies, some of those regular people out there in the world are starting to go, you know what? I like being lied to. I'm a big fan of the comfortable lies, but this is sinking in. The red shirt today, the red pill. It's hitting people because you can't live with your eyes closed. You start bumping into walls, and this is what's happening to this poor group of people that didn't want to pay attention. They have no choice now. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. And even people on the political left are doing it. They called it a deeply painful ordeal. No president has undergone a trial by news conference like the one Joe Biden endured. Can you believe this stuff? I mean, Stephen Collinson is basically in the stage, like in one of the stages of grief. This is the stage of denial, I guess. That's a good one to start with. It's like we know there's something going on, and we're denying it. His face flinched as reporters questioned his acuity. He looked wounded. It's because he's been treated like a toddler. He's been treated like a little boy being called a big boy. And now he's getting just a tiny taste of the real press coverage. There were other accounts saying that he did such a good job because he made a little misstep when it came to, I think it was MSNBC. He said he did some missteps, his verbal stumbles. But his policy and his history is spot on. His history is spot on. He can't even pronounce the word neurologist anymore, which, that's a hard word for a 4-year-old and an 81-year-old that has the mind of a heading towards a 4-year-old. It's a shame. He talked about gun violence. He shook with passion, even though he knows nothing about guns. This is the same guy that told you to go out on the balcony and fire off a couple of blasts randomly from your shotgun. What's in that shotgun, Joe? Is it bird? Is it buck? Are they slugs? Are we throwing one out slugs into the sky and see where they come down? It's pretty amazing. They don't have any sort of standards to it. So that's the sad part of it. We're getting this, ongoing polling where more and more people are looking around and realizing what some of us have known for quite a while. He's got terrible polls, and all it is doing is emboldening his critics. But where are they going to go from here? This is reporting you're seeing up here coming from MSNBC, the hard left side of the mainstream news. They love Joe Biden. They're doing everything they can, but they're referring to it as an atrocious performance in the presidential debate. They can't deny it at this point. It's overwhelming. And these are members of his own party, lawmakers from just the left side of the aisle calling that he should step down. And it's not just them. It's more. I've got a story from Catholic Vote, so I'll just go ahead and plug them real quickly here. CatholicVote.org/give. If you want to support my friends over at Catholic Vote, we're going to be doing a new project. We're expanding our Between the Lines project. You might be seeing that every day if you guys are so inclined. We'll be doing an afternoon type wrap-up show, and that is going to be coming to you soon. CatholicVote.org/give is where you guys can go and support them. They're doing some really good work. They do some great reporting on the loop, and they also are hiring right now. They are looking for a digital media manager and a major gifts officer, which is a sales position. There's two kind of sales positions, one marketing, one sales. If you guys are interested, go to CatholicVote.org/jobs. I just found that randomly today in today's loop. So I was sharing it with you because some of you may be looking for a job. Maybe you want to work with some people that have faith, family, and freedom at heart. And there's nothing but really, really good people. They all work remote from what I can tell. There's a home base in Indiana, but a lot of people are out there all over the country from California up to Washington, D.C. So maybe a neat opportunity for someone. Check it out if you are so interested, CatholicVote.org/jobs. And also you can, like I said, give or get the loop. All good stuff. Here's the story that they put out. And they're using the money that they raise for various different things, including polls. And that's what this one is, a Catholic Vote poll. Swing state Catholic voters prefer Trump by 17 points. That's interesting. 2/3 say that Biden should drop out. Also interesting. We don't want that, though. We'd like Joe Biden to stick around. I think he did a great job. He did a great job, Joe. You knew all the answers. You did such a good job. Just keep patting that guy and changing his diaper. Keep him in right up until he gets completely blown out. But they've done the polling in a number of different battleground states. There's 5 different states where they did this polling, looking at specifically Catholic voters, because that's the focus of Catholic Vote. But they also, I think, represent sort of disinvolved Christians. Catholics are a fickle group. And I remember growing up, I've grown up as a Catholic in multiple states. I did it in California. I did it in New York. I was in the military and saw it. Not New York. Shoot. I just say that. California and Texas. I saw it in Oklahoma. It's like Catholic people kind of are not political people. You won't hear political sermons from the pulpit. You will not hear priests talking about voting and how people should vote. But you're starting to see a few of them. And actually the chaplain, who is the chaplain for Catholic Vote, who's an awesome guy, Father DeSales, was like the most hardcore priest right outside of D.C. It's the reason why my wife and I actually used to go to his parish. That's a real interesting story too, by the way. We found out that he was the national chaplain for Catholic Vote after I started doing my work with them. And they picked him independent because he's just He's one of the few that gets that the politics are where this is at, that you cannot be a Christian and vote for Democrats that are pro abortion. We're going to talk about the abortion thing in just a second because Democrats are not letting it go. Like, that's a really big issue. That's why they absolutely love Kamala Harris. I just cringe. I just cringe at them. These are the worst people. In any case, you're seeing that there's support for third-party candidates. So some people are actually saying they would back RFK. Small number said that they would like a different kind of third-party candidate, but overwhelmingly, it's 47.61% chose Trump. Only less than 31% chose Joe Biden. This was in Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, all these battleground states that have to be won at this point to kind of carry over the states that are potentially in play. If we get the Christian vote out, the Catholic vote, but the Christian vote more broadly, it's not going to be close, which doesn't make me feel good. I'm telling you, folks, this only makes me feel more concerned. I continually feel more concerned. I keep thinking that this is going to go sideways because do these people look like they've driven up 100 miles an hour to the Grand Canyon only to pull over and look out the window and say, man, it's a beautiful view up there? I don't think we should put them in prison. I don't think we should continue on with these prosecutions. I don't think we should do whatever we need to do to win. You think they're going to just let it go? Because I don't. I get the feeling that they're preparing for insanity. So here's the last little piece of meta-analysis on this before I pivot over to the secondary option. Democrats worry that his press conference leaves them in purgatory. It's purgatorial. Good Lord. Yeah, see, they do know about heaven and hell, these people, these wild leftists. They know that there's a heaven and a hell, and in between there is purgatory, which means you weren't suited for heaven and you got to suffer more. Suffering would be appropriate for some of these folks. That'd be okay. ABC News reporting this. It's a purgatorial look. They anticipated the press conference. It went better than this debate, but it wasn't a masterclass. Oh, that's a nice way of saying that, huh? They're worried that they're right back where he started before he spoke, which is that he sucks. He's terrible. But he's not as terrible as he was in the debate, so they can spin it a little bit. Purgatory, I guess, is better than being in hell. It isn't a home run, but it's not a disaster. But it also proves that he can't go out there and campaign and win. Sorry, I better let me quote that properly. It's not a disaster, but it also doesn't prove he can go out there and campaign and win. So similar to what I said, but anyway, I don't want to get their words wrong. This is a former Democratic House aide. It doesn't erase the debate, and it doesn't move the polls. And if I'm a member of Congress or a donor, I'm not walking away inspired. So the issue before the presser remains after the presser. It's the worst case scenario. It doesn't change the dynamic. It just leaves us stuck in purgatory. What's funnier than that? And it gave Donald Trump more fodder to just throw grenades. Donald Trump is like every one of those like 80s movies where we send in like one guy, whether it be Hot Shots Part 2, the Topper Harley, or like the single, like Commando, right? Like one dude against everybody. He's kind of doing that right now. The way that you win when you're one guy fighting the monster, like the huge multi-headed, million henchmen crowd, is you pick them off one at a time. So Trump is doing it right at this point. He's sitting out, right? He's at home. He's golfing. He's truthing on True Social. And when Joe Biden says something really dumb, which he does, then he just like lobs a grenade, takes out some people, but then he's not there when they go to look for him because he's not doing interviews about it that much. He's just letting them fight, which we talked about previously. It's a good technique. It's very effective. Trump likes his 80s movies too, I bet. You just pick them off one at a time. Some of them you're going to throw a grenade in the room. Some of them you're going to, knife them, sneak up behind them and knife them and then carry them while you're holding their face or whatever it is. Very, very mission in action, kind of Chuck Norris movement. Someone said Chuck Norris's beard in the chat. Yeah, exactly. We're getting it slowly through there. And Joe's getting this.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the...
I can't help it. I just have that in my head, that shrill. I want to claw it out with my fingernails. Yeah. That's how all leftist women that don't make any sense sound to me in my head, just like Jill Biden. So thankfully, Jill Biden is out there to keep us going. All right. I got a little bit more, and this is where it gets really fun because who else can they turn to? They could turn to Kamala, Now, what I threw on the screen is actually kind of an adaptation from this article. This is an MSNBC piece, again, hard left. The real reason a Kamala Harris presidency is unfathomable to her critics is that as more and more black women ascend into the space of politics, the questions pertaining to their quote-unquote qualifications are ever present. No, it's because she's unelectable, because she couldn't even win her own primary in her own state when she ran for president that first time. She sucks. She's awful. She's god-awful. This is Christina Greer that you see on the right-hand side of the screen as looking at it. Christina Greer, not shockingly, is a youngish black woman. She's also an associate professor at Fordham University, and she's the author of Black Ethics, Race, Immigration, and the Pursuit of the American Dream, and the co-host of a podcast, FAQ or FAQ NYC, whatever. She's writing a forthcoming manuscript. I just had to put in, this was the most interesting part of the piece, by the way, was her bio. How to Build a Democracy, from Fannie Lou Hamer to Barbara Jordan to Stacey Abrams. So she's another one of these race-obsessed, narcissistic women on the political left who is black and therefore writes about being black, kind of like the gay people who write about being gay.
You gotta give your life to Jesus.
Sorry, I just couldn't help that. Okay, she's one of these people, they are something, and so they just think everybody else also cares about the thing that they are. Like, you're black? Who cares? I don't care. She cares. And the story is the reason why Kamala Harris is really not going to make it up there, even if she doesn't become Vice President Trump, even if she's not this, which is hilarious. God, she would look so bad in a suit with Trump hair. I hate AI. It's so bad. The reason why Kamala Harris is not a palatable taste for president of the United States is not because she's awful or she's dumb or she sounds like she's permanently drunk or high. The reason she's bad is because Chip Roy is racist. America may soon be subjected to the country's first DEI president, he said. The reason is because she's a black woman, and black women do not get enough credit in this country. That's the claim. Is that right? Like, some of the richest people, how about Oprah? Did Oprah get a fair shake? That was, 80s? She's a billionaire? We don't give black women enough credit in this country. I think we give black women too much credit. I actually this is something my mother-in-law said, and it's stuck with me for a very long time. She said, I think black women should run the world. Like, God spare us from that. Black women across the population set are not marrying black men, and they're making babies still. They're doing terrible ideas. Doesn't mean that if you're a black woman and you listen to the show that I'm mad at you. I'm just saying, come on. Either, look at the aggregate of it. Do you think this lady is making awesome choices and she's calling it out on racism? It's craziness. It's full crazy. And it also doesn't align with the facts. That's the best part. It's not factual. That doesn't stop Peppermint Patty, Ginger Goebbels, right? Jen Psaki from saying that Kamala Harris is actually awesome. And the word that stuck with me in this particular little clip is that she is a fierce communicator. I don't know if that's if she's doing satire now, it's very, very compelling. It's like Babylon Bee level satire, if she is. Here you go.
Kamala Harris, the vice president, I'm going to call her vice president now because I keep calling her. She is in my view, an undervalued talent. She's a very fierce communicator. She's very strong, especially on one of the core issues that made the election maybe won or lost on, which is abortion rights. And they said, this is why I think when she did a couple of interviews after the debate, I was sitting on the set with a bunch of other MSNBC anchors, and everybody was like, that was great. It's that's what she's doing out in the country, and nobody is really tracking it. It's just, that's who she is. But there is a character out there. It's almost like public opinion hasn't caught up with what she is doing out there. And also, we live in a country that is sexist and racist. So there is that. Not everybody at all, but there is a level of it that does impact elections.
Sexist and racist countries, fierce communicator, it's your fault. The reason why Kamala Harris doesn't get the reception that she deserves is because you suck. It's a hot take. Also, abortion is the number one issue. That's the most important issue to these women who are barren and they're beyond reproductive age. Why is it that old, gross lib women are the ones that are most excited about abortion? I don't get it. I don't think it moves the needle. I don't want to be so cynical to think that America is such a horrific country that we are going to choose, that we're going to live by abortion or die by abortion. I still believe that the thing that Ben Shapiro said, and I heard this a long time ago, back when I'm sitting in a car doing FBI surveillance, Ben Shapiro said that the two original sins, or the two most serious sins that the American nation has ever had, were slavery and abortion, and they both are the same sin. They're the sin of not acknowledging personhood of an actual person. And that as you get farther away from that timeline, there is no question that people in the future will look back at our time and they will judge us harshly for it. I think that's self-evident, because we already have what people think about slavery. And then you get some people that just can't let it go. They just can't let the racism, sexism card go. We have women at every level that women are qualified to be at, including places where women don't need to be. We have women as police officers that can't take men into custody. I'm telling you, if like God give us this, 100%, like there's a 30 for 30 pledge. They want 30% of police forces, 30% of the FBI to be females. Give us that, please. Give us more government operations run by women with guns. They're scary one-on-one, but when they actually try to go out there and do the job, it's not there. And if you're a female retired law enforcement officer listening to this, if you think there wasn't a man that was stronger and faster and more capable of doing the most dangerous part of the job than you, I don't know what to tell you. There was. It's the same as seeing like women in combat. And like, here's the other thing. I don't want it for women. It's not a good job. It's terrible to do that. It's a burden that men should take on. I just talked to a young man the other day on 4th of July, actually. And he wants to go into law enforcement for the reasons that you would want someone to, because he believes that he has discernment, that he has a smooth temperament, that he's physically fit. All the reasons. He's level-headed. He has good values. He's willing to see things fairly. Awesome. Good. That's what we need. And it's a burden. I was like, you're going to go into a like Democrat-led area. Are you down with that? You know that your department won't back you up. That's the only thing you have to know. And he was like, yeah, I'm willing to take that on too. That's a real sacrifice for community. And I don't want that for women, because like women using deadly force scares the shit out of me. I'll just be totally honest with you. When I see it, I'm like, you don't have any other choice. They can't. It's like tase or shoot if the compliance is not voluntary. The only situation where women are going to be able to take like an aggressive man that doesn't want to be taken into custody, the only way is full compliance. If he decides he's not into it, you're going to have to tase him or shoot him, because he will win. Even the stud women that are like fit, even the women that think they're studs, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or whatever. I don't care how many pull-ups you can do with a kip. It's like, have you ever tried to, I've watched this done before, by the way. The results are in, folks. Like, if you've never seen a Red Man test, go see a Red Man test. See if you can go to your local police academy and take a look at it. Red Man test, a single, regular man, my size. I'm 5'8". I'm not big. I weigh 185 pounds. If you're like, I've immobilized women with my offhand, my left hand just holding onto their ankle, and they couldn't get away from me. I just held on, and they were like, like beating me in the head, dropping knees, elbows. Like, you can't take me out. Like, I'll just hold on to you. That's not even me fighting. That's just me hanging out there. It's not good. And when you see it, it's debilitating to think about that being a thing. Anyway, but apparently we're all racist and sexist. That's why Kamala Harris isn't getting a fair shake. If you want to believe it, if you want to believe that. So this is why, I guess, because we're all racist and sexist, this is why there's this big shock that black people, are starting to line up and say Donald Trump is a better choice. That's troubling. This is coming from one of those overseas things. Who's pushing this out there? Ah, yes. The Daily Mail says a focus group. It's a moment focus group. I don't know what a moment focus group is shocked when half of the voters that are black reveal that they're going to be voting for a Donald Trump. This shouldn't shock anybody. Actually, some of this is like done right after the debate. So I want to play you that little piece. This is the NBC focus group directly after the debate. This, you probably have seen this. Then I'm going to play you one from a comedy piece. And the comedy piece is called The Daily Show, which is where I guess a lot of young people get their news. That's why we have a little bit of a sarcastic view on things. Here's NBC first.
Raise your hand for me if you voted for Biden in 2020. And keep your hand up if you're still with him this time around after that debate.
It's interesting to me because what you see, 3 black potential voters, there's a woman in the middle, there's a older man and a younger man. The 2 men take their hand down. The woman says she's still with Joe Biden. So the men stepped away. That's, 3 people, very, very small, N equals 3. Not a big experiment. Here's another one, slightly bigger. It's 6. It's still not representative. But Biden got 92% of the black vote when he went in 2020. 92%. If you crack that firewall, as the Democrats like to call it, if you crack that black firewall and you start treating black people like, I don't know, real people, like in a non-racist way, and say, hey, you're a person and you live in a place and you have specific concerns and they're not based on your skin color. You're not this like narcissistic Christina Greer PhD type. If that's the case, and you talk to them like regular people, because they are regular people. I don't know. Like, I always think this is really funny. I had somebody come after me on social media talking about like why I'm not for white supremacy or white nationalism. I'm like, because I'm not an idiot. Because I have friends that have all different color skin and it has nothing to do with it. Like, we have the same values. If you have the same values, then you're looking around and Donald Trump doesn't sound as bad. Here is the shocker from The Daily Show. And it's administered by a black host. There are 6 people that are black that you're going to hear their voices. If you're just listening to us, that's what's going on here. Take a listen to it. Here's people making people decisions. And guess what? Some of them have heard the things that you and I have heard.
Okay, so who will you be voting for in 2024? Daryl.
Do I have to say his name? I don't want to, but more than likely it's going to be Trump.
Yeah, unbelievable.
And then-
Unbelievable.
Who are you going to be voting for?
Biden.
And then Victor?
I'm with her.
Oh, Biden, okay.
Trump.
Eric, Trump?
Biden.
Biden?
Trump.
Okay, we're an even split, which I didn't see that coming. So do you think there's going to be a big shift, any sort of change?
I think it's going to be a big shift.
Me too.
Big shift?
Yes.
Really? Okay.
For me, I've always been a Democrat, and it's like for the most part with the Democratic Party, they always make a bunch of promises that they can't deliver.
They use the issues of the African American community as a soapbox to stand on and make promises, just to get us to come out and vote. And then once we vote and everyone's in place, it's like, well, what happened?
Yeah, what happened? The thing that kind of struck out to me, and I don't know why this was the thing that sticks out to me because maybe I'm simple-minded like this, but of the 6 people, the 3 most attractive people, men and the 2 women, were behind the Donald Trump. And they also sounded the most reasonable. Did you notice the black Karen lady in the middle? She had like the shaved head and the glasses, and she was like outraged. She was very upset that the black man said the one thing. She couldn't believe it. She looks just like the people that are interested in the tyranny. She looks like the kind of people that she represents. And then like regular people, just human beings that just sound reasonable, and they go, I don't know, Donald Trump, he's kind of better. And how about this? Where's the respect? Where's the respect? This guy, by the way, he goes, what's that? He's like, what is that? And I always hear that dude from the mosque that what is that, brother, ew. So listen for that too. This is another little clip from that same interview or that same little focus group. And I think it's telling.
He don't respect the black person.
And Biden does? Has Biden issued an apology for the things that he's been caught saying?
He said, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
You're not black.
What is that?
They have both said things that were questionable and unsavory.
Yes.
But when you start looking at facts, it's like, Biden, you done dropped the ball, brother.
Brother, ew. What is that, brother? I'm just saying, right? Listen, isn't that what it's always about? Like, you got a 78-year-old dude and an 81-year-old dude. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to say things that come from an anachronistic period of time. My wife's family members who have just passed, they are recently passed, but they were in their 90s. And, they would say things like, oh, don't go, that shovel, that's wetback work. And you're like, oh, that's what? And they're like, yeah, we would hire wetbacks to do that. And you're like, oh, okay. You're like 90 something years old. You grew up saying things that are not appropriate to say today. Like your husband was in World War II and was on an honor flight. You think they didn't say stuff like that because that was common for them? They probably said that in the 60s and the 70s. And some of that stuff sneaks out when you're 78 years old or you're 81 years old and you don't know where you are. So yeah, they say some things that are inappropriate for our sensibilities. But that's the other reason to have younger people in the race, for whatever it's worth, folks. But how about that lady going like, look, they both said things I don't like, but one guy didn't suck. He did a better job. Ain't that something? Isn't that something interesting? That if you listen to them and you take them on their word, it's not like they've been hiding this stuff. Joe Biden's information is way out there. Okay, I got 20 minutes of Joe Biden. I'm obviously not going to play all of it. I'm going to give you a taste of it. I want to throw this up there. Somebody made this brilliant compilation. It's in my social media timeline. So if you want to find it on Twitter, I'll make sure I actually got it. I ripped it out, so I'll post it on Truth as well. It's outstanding. It's riveting, actually. It's a car crash in slow motion of Joe Biden, and it's all the stuff that we've heard. It's the you ain't black. It's him not knowing where he is. It's all of the Joe Biden smoothie of just totally destroyed human being. They haven't been hiding it. And if you haven't been paying attention, here's a crash course. In 20 minutes, you can understand how bad Joe Biden has been since the first time that he ran for president and got appointed in there. It's not close, folks. It's really, really disturbing. So here you go. I'm going to play this for as long as it makes sense.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black. It don't have nothing to do with Trump. If you notice, I have more people supporting me in the black community that have announced for me. The only African-American woman that ever been elected to the United States Senate. A whole range of people. My point is,
that's not true. The other one is here.
I have a record that is second to none. The NAACP has endorsed me every time I've run. Come on.
The NAACP does not endorse candidates for political office at any level.
How many unsafe bridges you still have here in the state of Iowa? And I was just in Ohio because they have more. It is important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it, and what a neat town. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday, and I want to thank you all. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Kingswood Community Center. Actually, that's the one down I used to work. As a joke. You didn't know where we were anyway. Business is realizing they've got to price in the carbon. They have to price in the price of carbon, and so there's so much. I think. Anyway, look. One more question here. Is it too late to address the climate change?
Well, I'm so glad to hear you talking about that as eloquently as you do, Joe.
You know, the rapidly rising I don't know. We cannot let this, we've never allowed any crisis from the Civil War straight through to the pandemic of 17, all the way around 16. We have never let our democracy take second fiddle. We can both have a democracy and elections and at the same time correct the public health. COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look.
This goes on for 20 minutes, and I'm telling you, like, I could just sit and watch that. They did an awesome job doing the editing. The music is very good. The sound effects are kind of a little bit too much for me, but that doesn't matter. They've got some really funny moments where they highlight that Jill Biden, when he says something and she goes, and it gulps like really loudly. He's been atrocious for a long time. No one's been hiding the ball here, folks. So if you're not paying attention, that's on you. And it turns out some people are paying attention, including some people that are in the black community, or black communities, I think is more accurate. And they're like, hey, what is that, brother? Ew, this guy's old and he's a mess and he's not virile and he doesn't got it. Here's a great example of what's been going on. They've been patronizing some of the communities within the political left. And this is a really neat story. I think it's a really neat story to talk about. Actually, before we do it, let me break over to my buddies over at Patriot Coolers. Yeah, shall we? PatriotCoolers.com, promo code KYLE. You guys can get, oh, look at that. There's my, what side is it on? It's on this side. There it is. It's on this side. Man, I can't point on this mirror. We've got the Patriot Coolers cooler filled with Kyle Seraphin family groceries. The Seraphin family goes shopping for stuff in Texas, and we like to keep it. So if you end up getting a hard-sided cooler, you can throw it in the back of your minivan, and you can keep your ice cream frozen by the time you get home. PatriotCoolers.com. Get yourself a 10% discount by using our promo code KYLE. If you buy any of the bigger items, especially stuff like that cooler, you will get Free shipping. That's pretty cool. Anything over $50 gets you that. Otherwise, you get tumbler. Like I've got the 16-ounce mug. I've actually got the 30-ounce tumbler on my desk as well. I'm constantly using Patriot Cooler products. That's why we love them, and that's why we always promote them. They're a stalwart supporter of the Kyle Seraphin Show. PatriotCoolers.com. Again, promo code KYLE. The link's in the description, folks. You can always find it. Okay, let's punch this out because this is kind of fun. This is peak government. I alluded to it in the show notes. This is exactly what government looks like. And it's because most people have this idea of what government is. And this is going to reveal to you what it really is. It's going to drop the veil. Kind of like seeing a 20-minute compilation of Joe Biden who doesn't make any bit of sense. The Pentagon, this is coming from the New York Times. The Gray Lady says, the Pentagon is going to dismantle the temporary pier built for Gaza aid operation. Did you know that? Did you know that we spent a bunch of money to build a pier so that we could like offload goods for humanitarian stuff? Do you know how much that pier costs? It's right there in the title. $230 million. A $230 million short notice project has struggled to overcome rough seas and other problems since it started in May. So May, June, we're now halfway into July. Halfway into July was enough for them to say this 2.5-month project, maybe 2-month project, is going to get scrapped. They did it to appease the people that are the loony, lefty, pro-Hamas group. They built this thing. But you guys, they got two kind of wins out of this. This is an ice cream cone that is licking itself, okay? $230 million. It appeases the political left that says, hey, we need to give humanitarian aid to those poor people in Gaza. It's like, okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. We're sending the military. We're going to build a big pier. But what you thought was that the pier was going to be delivering humanitarian aid. No, the purpose of the pier in true government fashion was to build a pier that cost $230 million because someone had to build it and someone got paid to build it. And then it was built and now it doesn't matter anymore because who cares? They already paid for it. The purpose of government is to do government stuff. And government stuff means build things that don't matter, give money to people who are contractors, spend the things that they have. They had probably an extra $230 million in there. This ice cream cone exists because it has a tongue, and the tongue exists because there's an ice cream cone. It just licks itself. It goes around in a circle. The purpose of this thing was that it existed and it cost a bunch of money. That's it. That's the end of it. That's peak government for you. What does the government do? It takes your money and it spends it on things inefficiently. This is a case in point. One of you just said, a vet cop said it was $4 million a day. That's the $4 million a day. Like, what could we do for, like, how many of these? We could have paid everyone in Gaza like $100 to swim out to a ship and carry their own food back for cheaper. We could have given them $100 to go get their own food in the rough seas, and we would have been better off monetarily. That's because you think that government is supposed to do something efficiently. You think that the purpose of government is to take your money and then give you something out of it. No. The purpose of government is to take your money and give it to someone else, and it does. This is the major problem with what we call OPM, what Margaret Thatcher calls OPM, I guess. The old Prime Minister of England many years ago was famous right in the Reagan era of talking about when you run out of OPM, it's inevitable. That's why socialism doesn't work. Taking money from the people and then giving it to the other people, just moving money around, it's inefficient. And the government's the least efficient way to do it because they had to do a study. They had to hire a bunch of people in some administration, the DOD. All of the OPM gets taken and then it gets dispersed. And so like they took $500 million and they spent $230 million after they finished paying all the salaries of actual government people. Okay. Government people got money, and then the people who are in the outside contractors that did the study got the money, and then you got the people that actually did the construction that got the money, and then you got the materials for the thing get the money, and then you got the military people that are getting paid a salary to get the money. Everybody got the money, and then at the end of the day, two months later, you have no pier. $230 million. You might as well just light it on fire like the Joker, or you could just flush it down the damn toilet, because that's what they do. And while we're talking about peak government, sometimes government owns itself, and I know this is a little bit self-serving, but I'm going to wrap up with this. I'm going to wrap up with something that is funny to me, and I hope it's also funny to you on this Not Friendly Friday. Okay, there's a TV show out there that's called FBI. I'm told. I don't actually watch this kind of stuff, but some people do. And there's an article that I found written by a website called spyculture.com, where they claim that the actors in this TV show about the FBI admit that they are doing FBI propaganda, which is funny. Maybe this is why the FBI look at them. If you're seeing on the screen right now, what you're seeing is the two actors. That's Zico Zaki and then also Missy Peregrine. And these two people are covered in dust from an explosion, I assume. And they're wearing FBI raid jackets along with suits. Everything about that is funny. I only wore an FBI raid jacket, and they don't issue those kind anymore. But I wore the FBI raid jacket while I was at Quantico only, and they do a 511 tactical version of it right now that has flip-out pouches, and it's garbage. His name is Zaki, Z-A-K-I, and that's going to be relevant later. That's the man. Good-looking man, good beard, Middle Eastern kind of effect, right? Turns out he was actually born in Egypt, so also kind of classic. And this is what it says. It says Missy Peregrine and Zico Zaki, two stars of the CBS drama FBI, were asked about the government shutdown this week, and they responded in a statement that sounds like it was written by the FBI's Public Affairs Unit. They talked about the FBI doing everything in its power to keep the U.S. safe and explained that this is why the TV show portrays the real-life FBI so positively. It's an ode to the fact that we're living in a time where the reputation of the FBI is impacted politically, but it comes down to a group of people who won't stop for anything, whether it's money, politics to go in and save this country, and that's why it's so exciting to try and represent them in the best way possible. You can almost hear the fallacy. Hold on. This guy needs to stop dreaming of it.
You gotta give your life to Jesus and stop dreaming about peace.
That must be what's going on there. This guy is clearly dreaming about that. And Peregrine said, I was disappointed for them, but it showed up in the work, and then they showed up to protect the country, and I'm in awe of them, and I'm even more proud to be on the show with the character that they've displayed in this situation. It's so good. This is gag worthy. I worked during the shutdowns. Who cares, man? We missed a paycheck for a couple days. And people were panicking on whether or not they were going to make they're GS-13s, especially the guys that were on my squad. They were making $175,000 a year outside of DC. Is that much money? No. But I made less than $100,000 a year at the same time. And I had a house and I had kids and I made all my payments. I don't have any debt. What are these people doing? And they were looking I don't know if I'll make my mortgage. It's dude, I'm going to buy your guns from you. I'm going to buy them for weight, though. I'm willing to pay by the pound at my rates. Are you interested? I have money. What are you doing with your money? Why don't you have money? You make really good salaries. So anyway, so there's that kind of thing. So that's the shot. The shot is that we've got propaganda being done by the TV. That's not shocking. Here's the chaser. This came out yesterday morning. 2, FBI all. Subject, today. Actor Zico Zaki to speak for the Near and Middle East Heritage Month. The Office of the Diversity of Inclusion for the FBI is going to bring actor Zico Zaki to speak for the Near and Middle East, Near East and Middle East Heritage Month in commemoration of Near and Middle East Heritage Month. I didn't know that was a thing. Please join Associate Deputy Director Brian Turner, that's the number 3 in the FBI, in welcoming actor and activist Zico Zaki at 11 in the Bonaparte Auditorium. You can watch it virtually on FBI TV. Please see the link for FBI Net. The program, entitled A Conversation Between Actor and Agent, will feature Zaki and Special Agent Ali Sadiq of the Chicago Division. Currently, Zaki stars as a Special Agent Omar Adam, A.O. Zadim, in the CBS drama FBI, which was created by the Emmy award-winning producer Dick Wolf. So what you're seeing here is the FBI invited someone who pretends to be an FBI agent to sit on the stage and talk to an actual FBI agent. I have no further information. Is that not the peak of stupidity at this point? If you're bringing somebody in who pretends to be a thing that real people are, do you know there's 14,000 actual FBI agents? Why not bring a couple of people from Middle Eastern descent? Why not bring one of my buddies who speaks Arabic up there on the stage, who's a Christian? He's an activist too. He likes Jesus. How about that guy? In fact, many of you have seen pictures of my friend. I'm not going to say his name because he's still doing his job. But if you've ever seen a picture of the White House where there's two people wearing uniforms, one of them, they're both wearing masks. It's right after what happened across the street from the White House while Donald Trump was there and they tried to burn down St. John's Church. My buddy, A.H., he's in there. He's standing there. He's a stud. He's strong. He's physically fit. He's a great shooter. He's a smart person. He speaks 3 or 4 languages. He speaks Spanish fluently and Arabic. People who are listening know that he's my friend. But why not bring that guy? Why not bring people who actually love America, who have served in other federal careers, who are police officers that understand the constitutional oath? How about those guys? No? You want to bring in a pretender? Makes sense. Maybe that's why George Clooney has such a good following there. In any case, it's sort of silly, but that's the world we live in. I just can't get over it. If you guys want to see the full letter, the best part of it, I guess the best part, if there is such a thing, of the best of the worst, the best is that it says, immediately following the program, Psaki will sign autographs and take pictures with FBI employees in the headquarters courtyard from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Employees may bring the items they want signed and their own cameras or cell phones. That's kind of like a wave on policy, because usually you can't take pictures in FBI space. That's actually a policy violation. It's also funny that they have something like 6 really significant and stupid typos, because we are coming from the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. We don't have capabilities. This is the actual sentence that I thought was most fun. They wrote, he hope his, that's all one word, roliz, that's another word, a Muslim Arab American lead will help change the narrative of Arab and Muslim representation on television. I don't even know what that means, but that's what happens when you put the Office of Diversity and Inclusion in charge of sending out an all FBI email. We paid for that, folks. We paid for the person that wrote it. We paid for the presentation. We paid for the audio visual. Like, all that stuff came out of our money. That's peak government as well. No spelling, no correcting, sending it out to 40,000 employees because you're stupid. Pretty amazing. And it represents just sort of the world we live in right now. Let me throw one last little kind of pitch. If you guys are interested and you like the shirt, because there was this weird discussion about what shirt I was going to wear. Here it is. I'm wearing a Last Line Strength. You can find it at the-suspendables.com. A Last Line Strength shirt. That is the name of Garrett O'Boyle's t-shirt company, the O'Boyle family sweatshop, if you will. Promo code Kyle will save you 10% on any of our shirts, any of our pins, any of our hats that are left over. I didn't wear blue today. I wore red. I don't know. I just did. It's what I wanted. You guys can go get them. The-suspendables.com. If you have not done so already, there's plenty of you out there that have, and we appreciate it. And let me give you a 5-star review, and then I'm going to tell you why I think it makes sense. We're talking about the opposite right now of hardworking. That's government stuff. How about people who sound like they work hard? I don't know Toby Dean, but Toby Dean, apparently you're pretty famous. This is your 3rd review here. 5 stars, 3rd review. Thanks for fighting the good fight for nobodies out there like me, although I'm kind of famous now because I've had 2 reviews read on the show. Thanks, from Toby Dean. Toby Dean, let's make it 3. So there you go. 3rd review, also read. Oh, that's not what I wanted to put on there. And I got a palate cleanser for all of you who appreciate things in the unvarnished way, that want just the real truth. If Kyle Seraphin owned a mobile home resale company, we probably would pitch it a little bit like this. I like this. This is Robert Lee from Coleman Liquidation, giving you kind of like what Americans used to know, and there's a reason why this kind of stuff resonates with us. If only the government, if only our press secretary at the White House took a little lesson from, like, I don't know, real people, instead of listening to the Jen Psaki types. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Robert Lee. I own Coleman Liquidation. I sell mobile homes. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to tell it just like it is. These are mobile homes, not mansions. They come in 2 pieces. If that's what you're looking for, that's what I got. They're used. Some of them have stains. We cover that up. She decorates them. She sells them. These guys help me move them. A bouncer in Birmingham hit me in the face with a crescent wrench 5 times. And my wife's boyfriend broke my jaw with a fence post. So if you don't buy a trailer from me, it ain't gonna hurt my feelings. So come on down to Coleman Liquidation and get yourself a home. Or don't. I don't care.
Or don't. He don't care. Listen, if that's what you want, that's what he's got. That's what we got here at the Kyle Seraphin Show. We appreciate you guys joining us. I hope you have a lovely weekend. As was just said, Bobby Lee, he don't give one. He don't give one at all. We kind of don't either. We're just going to send it the way we got it. That means people want to come and join us. We appreciate that. For all of you that want to join us over on Locals, you can do so now. You can link through the Rumble app. You can also just go to KyleSeraphin.com. And all of our sponsors that are out throughout the week are available in the show notes if you want to support the program, if you're looking for something, especially the one that we haven't added on there yet. But my friends over at Shield Arms, we got a 5% discount if you use promo code Kyle over there. If you guys want to just save money, I don't know if I get anything out of it or not, but they're cool people. They make a great product. Their magazines and their firearms are good. And I just bought one, so I got it just shipped in the other day. We'll get it up, and we'll have some footage and some range reviews over on the Locals. Again, so KyleSeraphin.com for that. Until then, we'll see you guys on Monday. I hope you have a wonderful and a safe weekend. I hope you stay out of the heat. And God bless you. See you in the morning.
Thanks for listening to The Kyle Seraphin Show, streamed live weekdays on rumble.com/Kyle Seraphin. Follow Kyle on Twitter, Truth Social, and Instagram at Kyle Seraphin.